Let's continue our Discord series on tips, tricks, and tutorials. Recently, I've been reading some comments on my previous Discord videos, and it appears that I have been rushing past the roles/permission parts of those videos. If you haven't seen them yet and you're trying to create a server, go watch them. I have a server template that you can just click and boom, you have your server. But it is important for you to understand the role, the permissions, basically how to manage people and what they can do in your server. So this video, we're just going to talk about that. And by the end of it, hopefully there will be zero confusion when it comes to creating roles, managing permissions, stacking them, applying them to servers, categories, giving them out to your members, etc. Let's just get right into it. I try my best to not get sponsors for videos like that so that you can get immediately to the information. So in return, I just ask you to subscribe. Let's do it. Okay, here we are in Discord, and we're gonna go to our server that we created in my most recent tutorial, and let's talk about roles. So roles are basically the badge that members can carry that will give them certain permissions. Permissions are basically the detail of what people are allowed to do within the server, within certain categories, and within specific channels. The easiest way to view and also create your roles is by going to your server settings, and right under overview, you should see roles. As you can see, we created a couple of roles here, but just know that the default permission is at everyone. That's what it's called. And if I click on it, edit role at everyone, it will bring me here. Now, what you need to know is that the at everyone role will serve as a basis for what literally everyone can do in the server. It will be the default. So if you want to make a server where you don't want anyone to ever view any channels, you can just turn off view channels on the at everyone role. And then when you create your other roles, you won't even have to worry about turning this on and off. Do they have the permission or not? It doesn't matter. If everyone has it off, as long as you don't go out of your way to turn it on for specific roles, it'll be the default. When creating this server, I wanted to give an example of a server that you wanted to be kind of protected. If someone finds a link and finds their way into your server, by default, they will have the everyone role. And in our case, since I also made a video on how to keep your server safe, we have everything turned off, meaning that someone accidentally jumps into this server, they won't see anything. They won't see any of the channels. They won't be able to speak in any of the channels, even if they manage to get into one of them. So that's one example. But of course, let's say that you're creating a server for friends and stuff like that. You want to give them certain permissions, right? They should be able to see the channels, maybe create invites to invite new people to the server, send messages, for example. We're gonna go through them one by one, don't worry. With that in mind, what you need to understand is that every new role you create, let me click create role here, and it brings me to the display or the customization of the role, will basically have the at everyone permissions by default, unless you go out of your way to make it not the case. Let's call this one test role, and you can give it a name, of course. You can give it a color, of course. If you have Discord Nitro, you can even give it a little badge and stuff like that, but that's not really important right now. So after the display, you usually go to permissions, and this is where you will, as you can see, everything is turned off because my at everyone, everything is turned off, right? So in our case, it's for security purposes. At everyone has 0 permissions. Test role, let's say, is, members only. This is where you would go and basically click, hey, I want you to be able to view the channels. I will scroll down. I want you to be able to change your own nickname. I want you to be able to send text messages. I want you to be able to post embed links. And then you can basically save changes, right? Don't worry. Once again, we're going to go through them one by one. I'm just giving you the overview for now. Now, let's say I close this and I go back to my server. Since I'm the creator of this server, none of the stuff that I made in the roles are going to apply to me. So I need to use, let me click disable streamer mode. So I basically need to use a function, an option to view the server as a specific role. So let me go back to server settings, role. We're going to pick our test role. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to see something called view server as role. And this is going to allow me to basically experience the server as a certain role. And I can click on the channels to basically test it. Oh, can I see this channel? Can I see that channel? And you will see some things pop up, such as you do not have permission to view the message history. So if there was some previous messages here, I wouldn't be able to see it as that role. That is just something that I didn't tick in the permissions, right? I know for a fact that I didn't give permission to join voice chat. So if I click, I'm not going to be able to join the voice chats. Now, if you have multiple roles that stack, you can go up here and also stack them and see what they do. As you can see, I have the pleb role now, which is something we did in the other video, but this one has authorization to type in this channel. So now I can type. Now I can also join voice channel. Okay. And then we can disable this. So by going to server settings, roles, creating new roles, you need to know that there is a hierarchy of which role has more permissions over others. For example, if you have moderators in your server and you also have bots that also serve as moderators, if you need the bot role to manage some things that have to do with the moderators, maybe you have a bot that changes nicknames or it gives people specific roles and things like that, and you want your mods to be able to utilize it, you can keep your bot up top. Usually I give my bots like administrator permissions, so I keep them all the way to the top. On this column, it will also tell you how many people have that specific role, as you can see. Oh yeah, and by the way, you can also go here to click View Server as Role. Now, once you created a role, okay, you have the display, and then you have permissions. You gave it all the permissions that you want. You might create some channels where you don't want that specific permission to apply. First of all, you can create categories. So I'm not gonna go into how to create a server. This is not the video for that. You should have watched the other one, or you should go watch the other one. But basically you can add specific permissions per category. So under info, for example, I know that I'm gonna have my rules and my announcement. This is usually the type of channels where I don't want people to be able to type stuff. I just want myself to be able to type the rules and also the announcements. If I have mods, maybe I want them to be able to change the rules, right? So this is where you would go on a category, right click edit category, and then go to permissions. So by default, under advanced permissions, it will show you the add everyone. And of course, it's going to be our default. Now you'll see that this system is kind of different from what we saw earlier. Green is enable, red is disable, middle is actually default. So in our case, most everything is going to be in the middle here. But remember that category has to do with info, which means that even people who have the right to talk in every other chat and see every other chat, we don't want them to be able to send messages, which is why we're going to go and override basically the default settings in case it wasn't the case here, and disable send messages. All right. Now, every new channel that I create under this category will automatically sync the permissions. It helps us save a bunch of time. And it also helps us create things like VIP categories. We're going to create a bunch of channels that will have specific permissions for VIPs, but everything is going to be synced. So let's try to take a look at that specific channel, server settings, roles, and let's take a look at it as the test role. View server as role. Remember, that's the one we created. Actually, I probably should have shown you. So let's pick the test role, go to permission. So this role has permission to view the channel. It has permission to change its nickname, and it has permission to send messages. Now, if I go up top and I click View Server as Role, we're going to see that it actually doesn't have permission to write in here. That is because this whole category is basically protected. The default for this category is for no one to be able to type any messages. If there are any exceptions, let me disable this. Right click, edit category, permission. If there's any exceptions, for example, I want my mods to be able to type in there, I will click plus right there. I will select the corresponding role, mod. And then for them, I will make sure that send messages is not by default, which it is right now. Okay, so text channel permission, send messages, boom. And I can save changes. So that's the whole category, right? Let me close this. And now we want to view the server as a mod. View server as role. I can now type in the announcement page. But if I go on roles, we're actually going to see that I don't have permission, which is weird because, I changed the whole category. Why isn't this working? So I'm going to disable this, and I'm going to show you that the rules channel is actually not synchronized. That means that I must have modified it later on after creating the category. So it's basically out of sync with the permissions of the category. If I go to edit channel and I go to permission, it's going to tell me immediately, permissions not synced with info. Sync now. If I click sync now and I click sync permission, now you're going to see it apply the exact permissions that I have for the whole category. So that's why viewing the server as a specific role is so important, is because sometimes you edit some stuff and then it falls out of sync, but at least one single button will fix that. But of course, that shows you that if you, for some reason, want to have one single channel or maybe a couple channels under a category that has permissions that differ from the category, you can also do that, right? In general, I want everyone to be able to type and all that, but maybe I don't want that new test role to be able to send memes. In this case, I'm gonna right click, just gonna check my general permissions, edit category, permission, and it's just default, which is fine. We know that our default role can't even see this, so that's fine. I'm gonna right click on the channel in question, click edit channel, go to permission, and it tells us that it's currently synced, but we don't want it to be synced, so let's add our preference. test role, and let's make sure that it can't send messages, even if by default it might be able to view the channel. So let me click Save Changes. Nice. Let's go to roles, test role, view server as role. So now I should be able to talk in every channel under that category except the memes one. We do not have permission to send messages in this channel. Just like that. I mostly use this if I don't want certain roles to be able to post like pictures or use external emojis. Basically, roles that are easy to obtain. And if I don't want to trust people in that role, basically, I can deny them access to specific perks. So we saw the roles, the permissions, and the categories, and also the individual channels. That's why when I'm creating a server, I usually start by creating the roles. I start with the @everyone since it's the default. Then I start building the hierarchy from the bottom up. Then I create my categories, where I apply the specific permissions. Then I create my channels to go under those categories, so since they're gonna be synced. And then finally, if there are specific exceptions for specific channels, I go in manually and add those exceptions when it comes to permissions. All right, so now it's time for us to go through every single permission. I'm gonna go click on test role and we're gonna go permissions. All right, hopefully I know everything. So view channels, very simple. Being able to view all the channels. Now, it's important to know that you can exclude private channels. Private channels are a specific setting that you can put per channel, but either you should know that or we'll see that in another video. Manage channel. Now, everything that says manage is basically edit. So if someone is not a mod or the person is not helping you with the server and managing the server, no one should have that role. So you want to make sure that your @everyone doesn't have permission to manage anything, basically. Manage channels allows you to create, edit, or delete channels. Very important. Manage roles, same things for the roles. It lets people create roles. Keeping in mind the hierarchy. Remember when I told you the order? It cannot delete roles that are above them, for example. Create expressions. This is kind of a new thing that Discord has, where if you have a server with less than 50, less than 200, I don't remember, but people can create emojis, stickers, and also sounds for your soundboard. So your members, you can allow that basically, which is cool. Manage expressions. So manage again, so create, delete, and things like that. You don't want that. View audit log. We saw that in the previous video. Audit log is basically the list of actions that have been performed in a server. For example, if one of your mods bans someone, it'll be like, oh, this person banned this person at this time, that day. So this is also something you want to keep for your mods. Manage webhooks. We'll probably make a video on webhooks, but manage, so don't give it to everyone. Manage server, definitely not. This is to change the server's name, switch regions, and all that stuff. I usually don't even give that to mods. Create an invite. So create an invitation link. Change nickname. This is to change their own nickname in the server because they can have different names in different servers. Manage nicknames. Definitely not unless it's for a mod. Kick members. Of course, you don't want everyone to be able to kick. This is for mods. Ban members for mods. Timeout members for mods. Send messages. So being able to type and actually send the message. Send messages in threads. That is, if there are public threads or if they're invited to a private thread, create public thread. If you're running like a little forum part in your Discord, then maybe you'll let everyone create a public thread. Create private thread. So that's a thread that you basically have to invite people into the thread so that they can see it. Embed links. That is basically the little thumbnails that will show up with a link. This was broken on like for Twitter links for a little bit, but kind of got fixed. Attach files. So this is, hey, I have a meme on my computer. Let me put it in the Discord. So you decide if you want to allow that or not. Add reactions. This is the little emoji reaction to specific messages. Use external emoji. If people have Discord Nitro, they can use emojis from other servers into your server. External stickers. So same thing as the emojis. It's just stickers that come from another server. Mention at, here, and all roles. So you can mention the roles. @everyone is something that you can go in and just type @everyone. It'll suggest it. Boom. And you press enter. And this is going to send a notification to literally everyone in the server. All those little red things you see here is probably someone mentioning @everyone or a specific role. For example, you can see the roles right here. Hey, mods, someone is bothering me. Boom, it's going to send a notification to all the mods. Honestly, by default, I have this turned off everywhere. I'm not a huge fan of the @everyone. I should be the only one, or my mods, if we're making an announcement, you want to use this like the least possible. Manage messages, so deleting messages and things like that for mods. Manage threads for mods. read message history. That will allow people when they click on a channel to see everything that has been said in the channel like ever. So that's kind of important. Usually you want to keep that to whatever channel you want the role to be able to see. So usually you want to turn that on. Send text to speech message. So that's a default thing. You can type /TTS and then type, it'll read it out loud. Is it going to do it? This is a TTS message. I don't know if I have my sound on.
Gale Level said this is a TTS message.
If someone doesn't have a mic and they have the proper role where you allow that, they can do that. But of course, you don't want it to be abused, so you don't want to give that role to everyone. Use application commands. This is basically commands that you might have with specific Discord apps. But if you type / TTS was one of them. You can see that built-in stuff, and then you can have like extra if you have a specific bot or a specific Discord app that works with it. So it can bring up menus, it can do a bunch of stuff like table flip. Then there's also send voice messages. This is also somewhat new to Discord, where you can send voice messages on your phone. You just hold down the mic icon and then you speak, just like other messaging platforms. Then we have voice channel permissions. So connect, that means clicking and actually joining the voice chat. Speaking, you can let people connect, but they can't speak, for example. Video, so they're allowed to screen share or stream a game or whatever. Use activities, those are like Discord Nitro activities. There's some games that you can play with people on Discord. I will make a video where I'm testing all of them, by the way, so subscribe, stay tuned. Use soundboard. This one is self-explanatory. Just use the soundboard. Use external sounds in the soundboard. So sounds from another server. I usually keep this one on, but if you think that it's going to get abused, do not turn it on. Use voice activity. So basically this is open mic versus like push to talk. If you know you're going to have a lot of people, it's great to deny this, that everyone has to use push to talk, so you don't hear their whole family in the background. Priority speaker is basically every other voice, like people who have that role with that permission, every other voice in a voice chat is going to be lowered when they are speaking, so that to make sure that everyone can hear them. I've never actually used that. Mute members. So this is in the same realm of managing stuff. You mostly want to give this to a mod. Deafen members, pretty much the same thing. Means that they won't be able to speak, but they won't be able to hear either. Move members. One of my favorite things in Discord, if someone is in the wrong channel, you can just move them and bring them into your voice channel. We're still in the voice channel permissions here. Set voice channel status. I don't know if you noticed, but now you can put a little text that basically describes what's happening in the voice chat. So you can give people permission to change that. So usually you or a mod. Events permission. Let's talk about events. Create events, important. You and a mod probably. Manage events. Definitely you and a mod, so they can delete it, they can change the name and blah, blah, blah. And then administrators. Now this one is the most important role, which is why it's all the way down there. Members with this permission will have every permission and also bypass all channel specific permissions or restrictions. For example, these members would get access to all private channels. This is a dangerous permission to grant. It is so dangerous, in fact, that I don't even let bots get it when they're joining my Discord. I usually give it to them like later if I need it through a specific role. And ladies and gentlemen, that was every single permission that you can give in a private, like a normal server that's not a community server, basically. If let's say you are not sure about what you put or you don't want any of that anymore, you can go up here and click clear permissions and it will turn everything off. Remember to save your changes. Bop, bring it back like that. And if you want to delete a certain role, you can just go here, delete, and bloop, just like that. All right, I'm trying to figure out if there are any options that I maybe forgot. The colors of the roles are going to be basically the colors of the members' names. And once again, that hierarchy comes into place, right? If I stack it, if a pleb is also a VIP and also a mod, their name will most likely be green. Now in the list, that's going to appear on the right side here. As you can see, like I have bot. You can separate them by categories like that. You can be like, oh, the mods are there. And then it's the list of the mods. And then the plebs are there or whatever. And the way you do that is right in the options. Roles. I was under bot, for example. If I click on this, right there, it says display role members separately from online members. So usually I keep this for my bots so that people know exactly which bots I'm using or which people are bots actually. But that's pretty cool. And the reason why I am appearing as bot here is because it's the highest level of roles here. Remember the hierarchy? It's all the way up top. So the only thing it's going to display is that. If I was to set myself as mod and also separate it, click change, you'll see that it didn't change anything, even though I am also a mod, right? Those are my roles. I have all the roles except pleb, not a pleb. That also shows you how to distribute the roles manually. So if someone wants a role, like if you have a friend that's a VIP and they're like, hey, can you give me a VIP? You can right click on their name, go to roles, and then just check or uncheck some roles here. If you want to do this to multiple people, or you want to have, like, you know, if you have a bunch of people and you want to have a better view, I suggest you using the members page. We looked at that in the previous video. And from here, you can check out under roles and you'll see, okay, add roles, remove roles, all of that is manageable right there. That's one way of getting roles. You can also use specific bots and let people choose their roles when they're joining, but that's the subject for another video. That would have to do with bots, or just how to give auto roles with a bot, which I'm pretty sure I covered in one of my videos, but we will make another video just to keep that Discord series going and to have video per video to make you an expert at using Discord. But yeah, hopefully all of that is clear and you're ready to go. If you still have any questions, if anything is confusing, please leave them in the comment section below. As you can see, like, I made this video because of comments, so I definitely try to listen and take constructive criticism and also take ideas to make more videos, more informative stuff for you guys. I already have a list of all the things that I want to cover for Discord, but this wasn't a part of it, so your input actually helps me deliver better information about Discord in general. Make sure you check out the whole playlist of all the Discord videos that I've made, and until next time, thank you so much for watching. Go out there, make me proud, get level, out.